Hi everyone, it's Karen here, your ELA. Now there are a number of students who haven't had any or very much experience with Excel, and what I thought I'd do is just do a quick tutorial on how to use some of the shortcuts in Excel. So shortcuts are essentially fast keys that you can do to do various functions within Excel. It does make time or make things much quicker for you to actually do, and some of these you'll find invaluable in your application in Excel. Now, one of the great things about Microsoft Office programs is that a lot of the fast keystrokes or the shortcuts that you can use in Excel actually carry over into Word and to PowerPoint and the like. Some of them do, some of them don't. So what I want you to do is just make sure that you test it out if you're using these shortcuts in a different application, just to make sure it works. But understand things like Control-C and Control-V work equally well in Word as they do in Excel. So if you're quite familiar with those things in other applications, then you by all means try it in Excel. So what you can see over here is I've just got some raw data. So this is sales results for 2017. It could be anything. I've just literally plugged numbers in. You can see here in the formula field that I have literally just typed the numbers in. So there's nothing special about anything in here. Okay, so you can see here we've got a range of shortcuts. There's about 3 pages of shortcuts, and I'm just going to go through each of them, explain what they are, and then how you can use it. So the first is Control-C. So Control-C basically means Control Copy, and this copies the current selected cell or range of cells to the clipboard. So imagine that you have a clipboard, you're picking things up that you want to put somewhere else, you're storing it on your clipboard, and then you'll walk down the hall to, say, another desk, and then you'll put it down on that desk. Same thing applies in Excel. And so what we'll do is, what I'm going to do is create a new worksheet. So you see down here on the bottom there's a plus. I'm currently in sheet 1. If I click on that, it creates a new sheet. So what I'm going to do is highlight all this data that I've currently got. I'm going to hold down the Control button as I press the C button. Now at the moment obviously you can't see me holding down the Control button. I'm holding it down as I'm talking. Nothing's happening and nothing will happen until I hit another key. So Control-C, so have a look at what happens over on Excel here, and you'll see that we kind of get that dotted moving line around. That basically tells me it's been selected and it's been copied to the clipboard. Okay, now what I can do is take it over to sheet 2, and I can do what's known as Control-V. Now this basically pastes it into this new place, and you could take something from Excel and paste it into Word and a couple of other applications. So now I'm again holding the Control button. You can see that nothing's happening until I hit Control-V, and now you can see that I've got the information here. Now if I wanted to, maybe I was looking at doing the forecast for 2018, I'm going to get rid of the information that I've put in there previously. So I'm highlighting the area that I want to get rid of, and to highlight you essentially put the cursor in the cell that you want to start with. Hold down the left-hand mouse button and drag it to the last cell you want included. And then I'm just going to simply press delete. I'm also going to go through and change this to 18. Okay, so now I'm ready to start inputting information for my projection for 2018. And this is really quick and easy because it means I don't have to type in all this information, that it's going to remain the same. I only change those bits that I needed to. Now you might say, oh look Karen, it wouldn't take much effort to actually go and change, type all that in. Well, this is a very short example, but if you have a table that has 10,000 lines or 5,000 lines, it can be a real time saver. So let's go back to sheet 1. Okay, let's have a look at what we can do with Control-D. So this fills the cell highlighted below the first cell with the contents of the first cell. So let's assume here that we want to put total. Now, maybe we wanted to have two different totals. So maybe we're looking at, a total overall and then maybe a total for each department or the like. So rather than having to type in the word total again, what I'll do is I'll do Control D. And see, you can see that it's just put in what I had in the cell above it. Makes things nice, quick and easy. Looking at Control R, this fills the cell highlighted to the right of the first cell with the contents of the first row. Okay, so this is very similar to our total one, but it's basically going to move it to the right. So if I wanted, for example, to have the word total here, I do Control R, and now we've got it in there. Again, total is a very small word. You might want to type it, but if it was supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, that's a lot of typing, so you can just do the Control R. So I'm just going to delete that. Now, let me put that back. Control Z is a really cool shortcut to use, and it basically undoes the last action. So if you do Control Z, it takes it away. If I do Control Z again, it puts it back. Okay, so because Control Z undid the last action, if my last action was to undo something, then it's going to redo it. Okay, so let's have a look at what we have next. Now, we're looking at Control left mouse button will enable you to select multiple cells which are not necessarily next to each other. So if we wanted to do something that required us to look at tapes and magazines, if I click on the cell and then I hold the Control button down and click on it again, and then click on magazines, it enables me to highlight those, and then I could do Control, let me click on them, and then we can do something else with it, okay? But it enables me to select cells that are unrelated, and maybe I then want to bold it, so I could bold every second column if I wanted to. So it makes it much easier than going here and pressing bold, going here, and pressing bold and the like. So it's just a much quicker process. Shift left mouse button will select all the cells. So let me revert them back to what they were. So if I click here with my mouse button and then I hold the Shift mouse button down and drag, it does every single cell. Okay, so Control left mouse button lets you pick specifically which cells you want to do, which is great for when you're putting in headings or wanting to make certain things stand out. If you want to have everything in that row or everything in that column done, then you use the Shift button instead. Now another button to use is the Shift and then the down arrow key. Now the down arrow key is found just to the right of your numbers and just below the 6 keys, which are called Insert, Home, Page Up, Delete, and Page Down. So it's basically in between your keypad and your numerical keypad on a standard keyboard. So you've got your up, down, left, and right. Now, the Shift down and the Shift to the right have the same functionality as if you're doing Shift up and Shift to the left. They were just some examples, and it moves the current selected range down a row. So if we pick, say this, let's pick this total here, and we do Shift down, then it basically highlights that area that we can then do something different with. So maybe we want to bold everything from the total down. Perhaps we may want to put it into a general format. So maybe we want to make everything below here a date or everything a number or those kind of things. So it enables you to select a range or a row that you are then going to do an action with. So if you didn't want to constantly keep going over to your mouse, you can just use the keys to do this. If we look at Control A, so it selects all the cells in the current worksheet. So let's do that. So Control A, you can see that everything has been selected. And this is really useful if you want to copy everything that's in this worksheet and copy it to another worksheet. Or if you want to bold everything in this worksheet, or whatever you happen to want to do. Okay, now Control F. enables you to, it opens up a dialog box with the Find tab selected. So let's do Control F and see what happens. Okay, so what are we looking to find? Let's assume we're trying to find the number 4876. So if we do find next, it actually has identified that here it is. Now we'll see if there's another one. There is. There's a second one there. So if you have a really big worksheet or workbook open and you're looking for someone's name or a particular result or whatever you're looking for, you can type it here into this field and then do Find Next. You can also do Find All, which then tells you down here what cell reference they're in. And this is really good for you, again, wanting to find figures. If you wanted to find dates, you could again put the date parameters that you're looking for. Just moving on to Control H, or if you're here in the Find, you click on this Replace tab. Now let's assume that we have identified that any occurrence of 4,876, we actually want it to round it up. And let's round it up to 4,900. So what we can do is we say wherever you see this figure, we want you to make it this figure. So look over here, we know it's in March and we know it's in June. As soon as I do Replace All, so you can either do Replace individually or Replace All, it's done and it's told me that there are 2 replacements that needed to take place. And you can see that these figures have changed. This again is really, really useful, particularly if you want to change dates. So if you're looking at the sales results for 2017 and you want to change any reference of 2017 to be 2018. So let me type that in. So we want to find anything that says 2017 and make it be 2018. The only reference to that is in the heading here. So if we do Replace All, it says it's made 1 replacement, and yes, we can see that the sales results now say for 2018. So this is a really, really handy function as well. So Shift F4 will repeat the last find request. So again, if you do Shift and it's F4, which is function 4, and that key sits above the numbers on your standard keyboard. If you press the Shift and F4, it will repeat the last find request. So let's do that. Oops, sorry, obviously I've clicked the wrong button there. I did Control, not Shift, so Shift F4. Couldn't find what we were looking for because we'd made the change. Remember, we then did a replace, and so it couldn't find what we were looking for, which is great because that means that it followed our find and replace function. Okay, so we've got a couple more quickly to go through. So Control S saves the current workbook under its current name. So rather than moving your mouse all the way up here and pressing this button, you can do Control S. F12 saves the current workbook as a different name. So this is like your save as. Control O opens an existing workbook. So if you've had been working on multiple workbooks, it will open it. Control N opens a brand new workbook. So if I did Control N now, Control N, whoops, need to be over here. You can't see because it's open, and on another side you can see here it's opened a new workbook. It's called Workbook 2. Control W will close the current workbook. I don't want to do that just at the moment, but Control W will close it. Control B, Control U, and Control I are really, really useful because Control B will make things bold. So if we click on that cell and we do Control B, it makes it bold. If we do Control B again, it takes the bold off. Again, with Control U, it underlines things. So you can see that now tapes is underlined, and I can do it again to take it off. And Control I puts on and off the italics. Now you might think, hey, it's just as easy for me to use the mouse. However, you will actually find that these shortcuts will actually be much faster than actually using the mouse. Look, I hope that was useful. I hope you've got something out of it. And for those who are very familiar with Excel, maybe there was one in there that you hadn't learned before. All right, thanks everyone. Enjoy.